So what I have started off with, you grabbed a bunch of stuff from the front table when you walked in, and I know it was probably a lot of papers, but we want to make sure you can write on them. So what you should have in front of you is a note sheet that says World War I, the fighting ends. Okay. And a political, well actually there's two political cartoons. One we will go over together, and the other one I will, ask you to do yourself. A blank piece of printer paper and a political cartoon checklist. That's like a half sheet of paper that I will get to everything, I hope, in today's lesson. If not, Mr. Frick knows what this lesson is on and about.
I don't have any idea.
Oh, shush. And he will be able to continue on Monday. All right, so first up, questions for discussion. What were the main, and I put main in all caps because that actually is something that will help us remember the underlying causes of World War I. So, what does the M stand for in Maine? Yes, ma'am. I love it. You remembered militarism. Okay. And what does that mean? How about you in the far corner?
It means like that you believe that you should have a strong military to like protect your country.
Strong military, yes. I have the strong military. Very good. How about the A? How about the A? Sir?
Americanism? No.
No, but you're going with, I think what you're thinking of will go with the N. Yes.
Alliance?
Alliances, yes. Excellent. Alliances, which is something that's going to come back in our lesson today. So let's focus on that one. I. What about you in the red sweatshirt? You know what the I is? Kind of what the Spanish-American War was about as well. The foreign policy we used. That's okay. That's okay. Yes, ma'am. Imperialism. Do you remember that one? Imperialism, the foreign policy we used in the Spanish-American War, which is still in effect for us and other countries. Imperialism. And the N, yes ma'am.
Nationalism?
Nationalism, which I believe you, sir, were thinking of when you said Americanism, is because nationalism means what? Not Americanism, but what does it mean?
Well, like being true to your nation.
Yes, you're proud, you're true, my country is the greatest, yes, rock on. All right. All right, moving on, Mr. Frick, we're going to go to the Daily Times Enterprise. Picture of a newspaper, the day of. Whole country celebrating. Terms of armistice announced today. What does armistice mean? It's what? So laying down your arms? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, well, that's what I heard. Like peace, like we're done, right? We're done. We're as I said, laying down in our arms. And you know what date that occurred? Would be November 11th, 1918. Does that date sound familiar to you? November 11th. It's Veterans Day. Good job. Okay. It's also known as Armistice Day. It's Armistice Day because of this event. So if you look down here, it says terms of armistice strips Germany of all conquered territory and restoration of devastated lands, naval units surrender, and army demobilizes. So what's happening in Germany? They're giving, what are they giving up? How about you in the plaid? Well, not their freedom, but what does like the country of Germany have to give up? yes ma'am,
The land?
their land. So you see, they have to give up their territory that they had conquered back. They also have to get rid of a lot of their weapons and armaments and ships. And there's more that's going to come after Germany. We can see a foreshadow. Your cartoons, one of your sheets, is this political cartoon that you picked up. The title says Interrupting the Ceremony. And I put up there what the text in the bubble says. But before we even look at all of that, the first question just says, what symbols or objects do you see? Don't tell me what's going on yet. Just, what do you see? Ma'am.
I see like the dude that's like jumping into like
Okay.
the window. He's holding the.
Oh, don't say anything more.
Okay.
Man jumping into window. Now, yes,
Wedding?
wedding. Okay. We see a wedding, sir.
The lady's dress.
The lady's dress. Okay. And are there any other peoples or symbols being used here, ma'am? Can you see one? Yeah.
The book.
The book. Okay. The book. And this is supposed to represent who? A minister? Preacher? Okay. Okay. There's an audience. Who else is standing in the wedding party?
Is that Uncle Sam?
That's Uncle Sam. Okay, so every time you look at a political cartoon, sometimes you just gotta look at what objects or symbols do you see before you start putting it all together. So the title, Interrupting the Ceremony, is talking about whom? Who is interrupting the ceremony?
U.S.
Hold on, what? The Senate. It says that, thankfully we can see it. It says the U.S. Senate. The U.S. Senate is interrupting the ceremony holding what?
The constitutional rights.
The constitutional rights. What does the U.S. Senate have, what rights do they have to stop the ceremony? I said it earlier. What? What do they have the power to do? I'm sorry?
Not sign off on the treaty.
Right. They have the power to not allow the treaty to be ratified. So he's interrupting the ceremony. The ceremony is a wedding between whom? Foreign entanglements and Uncle Sam, who represents USA, or government, or people. Okay. And this one, it's USA. The minister is holding the book that says League of Nations. So they're coming together under the League of Nations, and here comes the Senate saying, stop. Stop. So with knowing everything now, do you think this artist is for or against the ratification of the Treaty of Versailles? And what elements in this political cartoon make you come to that conclusion? Yes, ma'am.
I think he's against it because if he was for it, it wouldn't show a U.S. Senate jumping through a window to try and stop it.
Okay, so you're saying that action itself is a big action
Yeah.
to put in the cartoon. So you're saying he's against this ratification. Okay. Now,
I think he's against it because it uses the word interrupted rather than stop.
okay. So what's the difference though between using those two words in your head?
Interrupting is like stopping something, interjecting into it. So,
Okay, so you're abruptly saying no. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, like he's like interjecting into like interrupting what they were, what was going on.
Right. Okay. I like it. You guys are using evidence from this cartoon to make your conclusions, to draw your conclusions. That's what we need you to do. So on the back of that political cartoon, and Mr. Frick, if you will. Yep. Is now your turn. So on the bottom, there's space on the political cartoon for you to go ahead and answer, just like we did, what symbols and objects do you see first off? Just make a bullet list, that's fine. What does the merchant, WW, mean when he says you'll have to take these with it? And what is the sugar supposed to represent? And how does this cartoon illustrate feelings towards the League of Nations in 1919? Which is where it's from. So just take them. Yes? Well, I put the definition of covenant up there because it says League covenants. And I wasn't sure if you were needed the definition. So what symbols or objects did you see? You, sir. The public. Okay, so the top hat is public. Okay. And ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Does the WW on the budget stand for World War?
Oh, I know. The blank piece of paper, that's what this is for, and the checklist to help you. The checklist is there for you as your guide to pretty much say, do you have this stuff in the political cartoon? And Mr. Frick's check column and comment section is also listed when he grades it. So cartoon clearly conveys an understanding of the issue, meaning you're supposed to make one either for or against the ratification of the treaty or the League of Nations, putting what we've learned about why we did not join the League of Nations, trying to make us see that you understand why we rejected it. But you could be for it. It's completely up to you. Okay. So do you completely show us that you understand the issue, which is today's lesson? Excellent use of appropriate symbolism. You've seen a lot of it here. The wedding, the Senate holding constitutional rights, peace treaty as sugar, but then you have to get all this other stuff, and part of that was stinky cheese. Okay, to try to convey your opinion on the topic. Title, just have a title that says it's clear, clever, and relevant. Key issue and your position are clearly identifiable. And that it's just neat and clean. I don't think we care if it's colored or not. As long as, if you want it to be, that's completely up to you. And if you have any captions or titles or anything like that to help us figure out what's going on, at least we can read those. So any questions on the checklist and what's being asked of you? No? All right, well, I'll be around to see if you do. And then keep this because you're going to staple it to the back of your cartoon.